Help spread the message. Like our page, follow our page, and share our post.
Hi, my name is Lizzie, and I am from the United States of America, although right now I'm in Malawi. So Malawi has been my home for the past 3 years. I met my husband here, I got married here, I had my baby here, so Malawi is my home now. But I'm originally from the United States of America. I grew up in this state on the very far west coast called California. You may know it from where all the movies are made. That's where I grew up. And we had a pretty normal middle-class family. We didn't have a lot of money, but I was the oldest of 4 girls, so there's 4 girls in our family. And my parents worked hard to provide for us. We were all homeschooled, so we spent most of our time together at home. And one of the values of my parents was being able to travel. So we spent our childhood traveling the world. And that's how I got to explore so many different places and cultures, and what ultimately was one of the influencers of me moving overseas when I grew older. So that's where I grew up, and we had a good childhood. It was, it was pretty normal by our standards. And then when I grew up, I went to university in a small town in Indiana, which is several thousand kilometers away from home, in a completely different experience. And that's where I started to learn what it's like to live in different countries and in different cultures. And that's also where I developed my passion for women and for women's ministry, because I just realized that God has given women such a special gift, and that we are something special that a lot of women don't realize about themselves. And I really, really struggled for most of my childhood and growing up and most of my adult life with self-esteem and with understanding my own value and my own worth. And that was something that I really started to realize as I became an adult was one of my struggles. And so I wanted to reach women and to be able to teach them that they have value and they have worth, because I think a lot of times we as women struggle to see our own value and our own worth. So I graduated university, and then I moved down to my dream job. I actually moved to Florida, which I consider my home now. And I worked for this company called Walt Disney World, which is my absolute dream job. And during that job, I was there for about 5 years. God really started to draw my heart into Africa, and He made it very clear that I was going to move to Africa, which was just a massive change and very different from where I thought my life was going to go. But that's where God took me. And so 3 years ago, I moved to Malawi. And in that course of that journey, my passion for women's ministry really became a lot more apparent. And when I was in Malawi, I realized that there's really a need for teaching women that they are exceptional and they are valued and they are worth everything, and that they have a purpose and they have a plan, and that they're not just an object, but that women are something to really be known and valued. And I realized also that we also had a need for practical skills, and that was something I could do. I love to sew. My mom taught me sewing when I was a child, because we grew up homeschooled. We had the ability to do those types of things, and so my mom was a seamstress, and she taught me how to sew, and I grew up sewing, and I grew up making my own clothes, and I realized that those were things that I could do together, and that here in Malawi we do a lot of tailoring, that's a really common skill, and I knew that I could do that, and I could use those skills to be able to reach the women around me. So I first moved to Malawi in Blantyre, and there I met up with some women that quickly became friends of mine, and they were local Malawians. And since I don't speak much of the local language and I didn't know anything about the local culture at that point, we teamed up together, and between them and me, and we started this sewing program. That first year was a bit of a disaster. We started class, and I didn't even know how to run the sewing machine because it was a treadle sewing machine, and I'd never done that before. So I kind of learned along with my students. But that was our first class. And, at the end of it, we had a group of 10 women that we were able to teach and love and move through this process. And at the end of it, they graduated, and they had skills, and they had business skills, and they knew about their worth and their value, and they knew who Jesus was, and they had a relationship with Him. And so that was a success. It was a bit of a challenge. We learned a lot throughout the way, and now we're on our 4th class. I think this is the 4th class I've taught now that I started this year. And we had so many women come through our program and just really be able to know how much they are valued and what their worth is, and that they are worth something, and that they're not just objects, and they're not just here to be something that someone else says they are, but they have dreams and they have passions, and like God has given women such a special gift, something that no one else on this planet can do, and that we get to talk to them about that, and we get to teach them that, and they get to graduate our program just really knowing who they are, and knew who they are in Jesus, and knowing their value, and knowing their worth, and having skills as well, and being able to make things, and make dresses and trousers, and start their own businesses. So we've had some amazing success stories, and we've had some really epic failures, because anytime you start something or do anything, you're going to succeed and you're also going to fail. And so we've learned through that. So this is my 3rd year here in Malawi, and we just started our 4th class, and they'll graduate later this year in December. We're also in the process of actually building a proper sewing school. So hopefully next year we'll be able to open our actual proper building, our actual sewing school, which is just an amazing thing to think that when I first moved here, we just started in a little room with 2 women, and we had no idea what we were doing, and now we're actually going to have our own school and our own building. We send stuff back to the US, we send stuff all over the world that my students make, and people all over the world buy them, and it's really incredible to think about what has grown just from a couple of us in a bedroom to something that is really becoming so much more, and the amazing people around the world that we're able to impact. So I think that there's so much I've learned on this, and one thing that I would say in encouragement is that, like, you have dreams, and you have goals, and you are valuable, and you are worth something, and so go for it. Like, no one is holding you back, and no one is stopping you, and if people try to hold you back and they try to stop you, then don't listen to them, because no one should tell you what you can be, because you can be anything that you want to be. And I moved over here to a country that I don't fit in at all, and I don't know the people, and I don't know the language, but I moved here because I felt like I was called to be here, and I had a dream, and I had a goal, and I had a vision, and God did it, and here we are today. And now I've got an amazing husband and a beautiful baby and this amazing school that we're running. And don't let anyone take you down, and don't let anyone stop you, that you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. And no one can tell you, oh, you can't do that because you're a girl. Because guess what? Girls can do anything, and they can do it well. So don't let anyone stop you. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and about my story and about who I am. And yeah, so here I am.
Help spread the message. Like our page, follow our page, and share our post.